Hello everyone. For my assignment, I decided to choose a second grade student. He is an English language learner, and on his home language survey, he is listed as speaking both Spanish and English, with Spanish being the primary language spoken at home. On the speaking part of the assessment, I used the questions that were in the training manual. On questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, I gave him a 2, which is the highest score that he could receive out of the 2-point scale, because his responses were appropriate for each question and his sentences were complete with no grammatical errors. On question number 5, I actually used a story sequence that I have used in a previous class with another student, and it's just a 5-picture sequence that the student has to tell the story by using the pictures. And I gave him a 4 on that using the 5-point scale, because he named the characters and actions. He used 5 complex sentences that were detailed. Only 1 error was present, but it did not affect the meaning. And overall, I gave him a 4 because he did leave out a few details that were important to the story. And I went ahead and did the 4-story sequence with him, and I gave him a 5 on that, using the 5-point scale, because he did use 5 detailed sentences to describe and tell the story with no errors, and his speech was approximate to that of an English speaker. On the writing, I gave him an overall score of 3 and gave him a score of 3 in each of the categories. Vocab a 3 because it was adequate, not super expressive, very few usage errors that did not impede the communication. For sentence fluency, a 3. He had a variety of sentences with just a few errors. Grammar, a 3. He used his verb tenses correctly and used suffix ing and ed correctly. For mechanics, he did have a few errors in punctuation and spelling, but for the most part, the words were spelled correctly and most of them were capitalized. And for organization and development, a 3, because he did have a focused piece of writing that had a single event. It had a start to finish, but it did lack some transition words. So overall, he scored a 15 out of 20 on that. For goals, for speaking, I think it would be to work on him speaking with more complex sentences and adding in more details so that his speaking is more elaborate and more detailed. And as far as his writing goes, to work on forming a paragraph with indentation, correct punctuation, correct capitalization, and to really work on what a paragraph looks like with main idea and details, so that his sentences can become even more complex.